to Cosplay Stitch and Seam. I'm Panon.
I'm the Fire.
And I'm David.
There's always like some kind of test to see how you're gonna do the David.
One of these days, I'm gonna study through a bunch of different languages, and every week I will just do a different language and not tell anybody. And just soy David.
And then we have to guess
David.
the language.
Yes. Okay, I gotta figure out how to do it in Klingon, High Valyrian, Dothraki. Let's see what other languages we could throw in there. If you got fun languages, where can they tell us what languages I should learn, Panon?
Well, they can, of course, send that to us at cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com
Or go to the website, cosplaystitchandseam.com, fill out the form there to contact us, or
you can tell me on the Facebook page. While you're on the Facebook page, join our fantastic community. Join our Work in Progress Wednesdays, our Finished Fridays. If you're not a big fan of Facebook, we do have a Discord. Our Discord server has some fantastic people, some fantastic discourse. We have a whole channel just to hype yourself up whenever you're like, hey, I just need some advice, or I've done this. We started a whole channel for cosplay buddies, crafting buddies specifically. It's not just your pets, it's your kid, it's your that one toy that just looks down. X-Angel posted their Slinky. It's fantastic. I love our community so much.
That's amazing. Also, I am being judged right now. I forgot to actually say the website, but I hope people know what it is.
CosplayStitchandSeam.com, right?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Because you can get the link to our Discord on CosplayStitchandSeam.com.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And while you're on the internet, going to our website, cosplaystitchandseam.com, if you want to help out the show, there are many different ways that you can do that. Leave us a review on any app that allows you to do that. We really appreciate it. Any word of mouth we appreciate as well, since we don't pay to advertise. And of course, we do have a Ko-fi, K-O-F-I, Cosplay Stitch, as well as a Patreon, patreon.com/Cosplay Stitch. For $3 a month, we'll give you a shout out on the show. And for $5 a month, you can join our monthly live stream D&D game called Cosplay Chronicles.
Yeah.
That's my bit. I've used up all my energy. I had a coffee beforehand. This is it. We're not doing a coffee episode, but it's a coffee episode.
Yes.
And down David goes.
You can tell we've been doing this for years. We're so organized.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of, though, we are coming up on our 200th episode. Did you want to give them a little teaser of what's to come?
Yeah, we can talk about that. We are going to be doing a trivia night. I don't know what the theme of the trivia night is yet. But we will be doing it while eating very, very spicy foods.
Oh my goodness.
Stay tuned for more information about that, because that is...
I am ready to lose on the trivia part, but win on eating the spicy stuff part.
So you might
I'm
win
gonna top myself up and I'm going to lose still, but...
Are you going to win later? An hour after the Twitch stream or whatever turns off?
It'll be worth it.
Nice.
I am definitely one of those terrible people.
Woo. How do I segue into this? There's no good way, so I'm just going to say, if you would like to check out some awesome makeup that is made by a fellow cosplayer, you can go to foxbeauty.store. That's Fox with 2 X's, beauty.store. They have a promo code running, Stitch and Seam, where you can get 10% off your purchase of all vegan, not tested on animal products. And yeah, what are we talking about today, guys?
Crafting parties!
Oh, yes, that's right. I was like, what are we talking about? Oh my gosh. Yeah, so my brain is working super good.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Super good. I got this.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was like, who's going first? I don't know.
I feel like because I don't want to be one of those people saying the pandemic is over, because it's not, and all that.
It's definitely
but I have so missed getting together with friends to do crafting.
Mm-hmm.
And there are ways to safely do so, which we would encourage. But yeah, I was actually studying up on this, especially after getting diagnosed with ADHD, and looking for ways to help me stay focused and working on cosplay, because I have like 2 modes, and one is like stare at a wall for 5 hours, and one is do nothing but cosplay and forget to do anything else like eat or sleep or shower.
Mhm.
But there's something called body doubling. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I actually have an article pulled up from Medical News
That's
Today
so
about it. But
cool.
yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
What is this? It
I found
sounds
it really helped
fascinating.
me. So the theory is like, David can probably explain it better since he's got the article pulled up. But it's kind of like, if there is like another person with you, even if they're not like working on the thing, you're going to work on your thing. Just because you have the other person there. I don't know if it's keeping you accountable or just getting you in the like headspace of like, now is the work time.
Yeah.
But it helps me a ton, because if it's just me, I can I just kind of like I said, stare at a wall for 5 hours. But if I have another person there going, hey, now is the crafting time, we are doing crafting now, even
Mhm.
if we're working on separate things, or if they're like, I don't know, drawing a picture, writing fan fiction, whatever, and I'm in the same room that this work is happening, I have this same sudden urge to be like, oh, I need to be on and I need to be working on the things, and now is the work time, and it kind of switches my brain into that mode.
So I'm
Yes.
sitting here and squinting at the screen and going, gosh dang it, that's what I've been doing all this time. It's body doubling.
Hmm.
I was expecting like cloning to happen, so
Oh, no.
So this Medical News Today article, "What is Body Doubling for ADHD?" Written by Nicole Washington. She
it's for
basically says,
ADHD too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Body doubling simply means doing a task in the presence of another person. The other person may help with the task, such as when a couple or housemates do housework together. They may work on the same task but independently, such as when friends do homework together, or they simply may be present listening to music or quietly performing an unrelated task. There's a lot of points about it. However, at this time, there isn't a lot of like research behind it. So we can't say that this is the definitive, yes, this is medical advice, it is known to work or anything along those lines, but there's a lot of benefits. There are some downsides to it. For instance, if you get 2 ADHD people who happen to be on the same frequency and they go, hey, have you watched the latest episode of X, Y, and Z? And you go, no, I haven't. Oh, we have to watch it right now. That could be a downside. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, but Chris and I do that. This is like literally what we do to like get things done at home. Like I'm planning on like cleaning my project room again. And he's like, yeah, I'll clean mine at the same time, and we'll be like really productive when we do this. But also it'll be mixed in there of like, oh, the latest Harley Quinn episode's out, and we'll go sit down and watch it. And then find ourselves like 5 more, other things down the internet before we actually finally go back to cleaning.
Yeah.
But like, that's so fascinating that there's like at least been some sort of studies like slightly on them. And people notice this, and it's like, that's cool. That's super cool.
Yeah. And like, I think this has just been a thing for a long time, but nobody really put a name on it until recently. But yeah, just the idea of, I want to get together, I have a goal that I would like to achieve, and then I would like to invite people over to help me achieve that goal. There's this accountability, if you will.
Yeah, I was just going to say accountability is a really good word for it.
And like, it's that is one of the potential issues, is that you have the wrong type of person to be there, like this unsuitable body double who is there to be a taskmaster, essentially, instead of just like oh yeah, I've got my own thing that I need to work on. Of like, are you working on it? Mercedes, you've now watched 1.5 TikToks. Why are you still watching TikToks when you have things to organize? Have you turned off your sewing machine yet, Mercedes?
I did. I said it on our previous episode. I did turn it off. But also, I'm not on the TikToks.
That's probably for the best.
Oh, man. No, you said that, and I'm like, that's usually me. That's the taskmaster. That's like, guys, come on. Back on track.
And like, it can be helpful if you have like a disruptive group, but also like, how big can your how big does it get before it becomes a party, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
if it's a body
Mhm.
double and you just need somebody in the room as you're getting some writing done or some sewing, that's one thing. But if you have like 5 people, I know I'm not going to get any work done if there's more than 3, because I have to now
Well, yeah.
be on, right?
hmm
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually gonna throw that out there too. Cause like I've got a like few set of people that I can actually like craft party with. Where if it's more than 2, I'm still productive. Like it's very, very few people that I can do that with. So when I say crafting party, it's usually just me and one other person.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 other people.
Mhm. So
Fair.
let's talk about. We talked about body doubling. Let's talk about like what does a crafting party, or if you have another person, what does that look like to all of us? Mercedes, you were saying you have like one other person. What does that look like to you?
We're like both in the room. We have our spaces set up. Like usually, like I find out it's like if they come to my place, it's like, do you need a table? Do you need a sewing machine? Do you need a chair? Like what all do you need? And I get that set up as much as I can, so that their space is prepared, and then I also prepare my space for doing projects. And then the other person shows up, maybe 2 other people, and we just like throw on some music, or like depending on who it is, I'll throw on a show that we've all seen, so it's not like distracting, but like we can like laugh and quote it as we're working on stuff, but it's not distracting us. Like Adventure Time, I love putting that on in the background, and that's a crafting party for me.
Love it.
And then reminders from Sadie to eat and drink.
Oh yeah, smart.
Yeah.
Sadie's the taskmaster in your idyllic party planning.
Yes.
She just seemed like she'd
here's
be
the
good at
water.
that.
Drink it.
What about you, Pan? And what does your idyllic crafting party look like?
Yeah, I would
Oh,
say
wait. Candles.
Candles,
Smelly
really?
candles.
Okay.
Like calm, smelly candles.
Love it. Pan?
fair. Let's see. I would say for me, I don't know if this is like an ADHD thing or not, but I have a really hard time working in someone else's space. So almost always I will invite people here to be like, hey, do you want to work here? And you can use my tools and my machines as long as you're careful.
Yeah.
But I don't want to like, I have a really hard time packing a bag and going somewhere because like my brain is just like, well, you need to do everything on this to-do list, and the to-do list has like 12 things on it. And so I'm like, well, if I'm going to someone's house, I have to pack all 12 of the things because I don't know which one my brain will be like, I want to work on this. So if I can, I like to work at my own place because then I can jump around and not have that worry. And I can also, like, I'm used to my machines, and I'm sure everyone feels that way to some extent, though.
Yeah. Definitely.
I would say, yeah, I like to keep the group fairly small. I do like to have something running in the background, even like sometimes we'll just turn on lo-fi music or like a show we've all seen already, so no one's getting like super distracted by the show. Or if it's going to be like a show that people want that people haven't seen before, it's usually like something documentary style, so you don't have to have your eyes on the screen all the time.
Smart.
So yeah, choice of media is really important, I guess, for helping me stay on task, because if I don't have something making sound and kind of like running in the background, I have a really hard time focusing. I would say you guys touched on some really good points about like deciding who to craft with and making sure you have a good balance of like making sure you're staying on task, but like you also remember it's a party, it is fun, and you want to have fun doing it, right?
Yeah.
It's like one of the things I miss about doing cosplay working parties is the social aspect. Like I really like catching up with my friends, seeing what they're working on, getting advice or seeing how that they're working on something, hearing like what their plans are for the future is really fun. It can just be hard not to get too into the social aspect if you're trying really hard to get stuff done. I would say I tend to like have the really like lazy catch up sessions when we're still like 2 or 3 months out from a con. And then as we get closer, if I'm going to like con crunch with somebody, it's going to be like probably 1 or 2 people at most. And we will just have our noses down at the sewing machine, just going, you know, because everyone is in the like, the deadline is here. My hyperfixation is here. I'm just going to go.
You're in the zone.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'd say that's my ideal. How about you, David?
I like it.
So mine, I only have 2 people over, Kate Reading and Michael Kramer, and they read to me the way of kids.
Nice.
Sorry, I couldn't help the joke.
No, that was amazing.
I went through like 2 Stormlight books when I was doing Hollow Knight, so I was... so to me, like, I kind of feel the same way as you, Panon, of like, ideally, people are over here. My biggest problem is that like a lot of the things that I'm going to be doing is loud, noisy work. I'm going to be doing sanding, which is messy and it's outdoors, or I'm going to be doing airbrushing and it's messy and it's outdoors, or I'm going to be gluing and it's stinky and it needs to be outdoors. All these things that can be like really big things that are harder to do with groups. But I can definitely appreciate the like having a bunch of people who are like, oh, I'm using the orbital sander real quick, and kind of moving around a little craft space. I like that idea a lot. I don't know if we've ever really talked about there was a crafting cosplay space up in northern Utah. I can't remember its name off the top of my head. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? No, it was like
the Rebel Girls cosplay.
Yeah. Rebel Girls. I think it was like cosplay, just crafting, and they would have classes, and you could just rent out their shop for a while. That was a really great opportunity. I'm really sad that like the pandemic really just hit them hard.
Dang it.
But
I need to see if Make Salt Lake is still there, because that was a place that I was investigating as a makerspace to possibly join.
Nice.
But the times that I've done it, it's just been really nice to like take a small thing that isn't too noisy. That's like okay, I just need to like weather this thing. So it's going to be painting and it's going to be light, but kind of messy. But also I'm not going to have to worry about making a big mess in my friend's house or something along those lines. So yeah, it's something small. I like having music. I like having, I can't do a TV show, even if it's something that I've seen 1,000 times. I'm going to sit down and watch it. That's just how my ADHD works. Or I'll quote the entire movie instead of doing the actual work. Turn on Scott Pilgrim and I will give you a whole rendition, and facts of that movie.
Beautiful.
So it's gotta be music. It can't be something on the screen for me. It's gotta be like at my house working on something small that I can then kick everybody out very quickly afterwards. So I can be like, all right, now I'm done with all the cutting of the foam. It's time to glue up.
I was going to actually mention, if you're doing like solo work, that one of the things that helps me in almost like the same capacity as body doubling is listening to like podcasts that feel very like conversational, because it kind of gives me the same experience as like I'm in a conversation, I'm around people, but I'm just working on my own stuff. So I do that with like podcasts and some audiobooks and stuff, because it really helps me get in the same mindset as I would if I'm in a social group.
That is so true, actually. Because like when I was working on the arcade cabinets for my work, I was listening to Goblin Emperor and like listened to it twice because I really liked it. While building stuff and like working with noisy power tools and things, and like I was more productive when I was listening to that than when I wasn't.
Wow. Nice. I love that. So I want to talk about like a negative, but not necessarily a negative, like something that you need to be like cautionary about.
Sure.
What do you guys do in the event that like you're doing the party or body doubling even, and it's just kind of chill, quiet, and there's just a major catastrophe with either your cosplay or one of your guests' cosplays. Let's say that like they accidentally like cut through half of their foam through their pattern, or their sewing machine breaks down, or for whatever reason their sewing machine keeps jamming while live on stream, and they're trying their best not to have a breakdown in front of his two friends.
That never happens.
Never. I can't speak to experience of this at all. So what do you guys do in that situation? Whether if you're the person suffering or your friend is the person suffering?
Gosh, I would say it can be both helpful and not helpful. It depends totally on your friend and how they or you react to bad things happening. We've heard a lot of great like cosplay horror stories that are about the friends that they were traveling with or in their hotel room with, who were really good in a crisis and helping them when something had malfunctioned. And I think it's the same sort of mindset of like, are you in crisis management mode? Are you able to like help with the issue?
Yeah.
Or is the answer to the issue to give them space, to let them work on something else? They may not want to hear like problem solving when they're still a couple months out. They may just say, you know, I'm just going to scrap this and start over with new fabric. But I think it can also be helpful to have friends who are experienced or even just like have creative minds and different levels of experience in different things, where they can be like, hey, I don't know if this is helpful, but maybe we could try fixing it this way, or maybe we could pattern this way, or if you cut it wrong, maybe we can still salvage this big piece and use it for the sleeves and see if we can cut your big piece out of what's left, you know, so that the disaster doesn't always have to be like a world-ending disaster if you have suggestions. But on the other hand, I know that can also be really frustrating to someone who's in crisis and they just don't want to hear suggestions. They want to find their own solution. So it really just depends, I guess, is my repetitive answer here.
So to kind of like tack on to that, like it depends on what they're looking for. There's a podcast that I listened to forever ago. I can't remember the name, but they offered the Triforce of communication, right? The three were like, when you go to somebody and you're like, I am having a bad day and here's what you need. Like, do you want feedback on how you could mitigate the situation? Do you want to just be seen and validated, or are you looking for support? Right? Just, do you need to get the words out? Do you need someone to be like, oh my gosh, that sucks? Or do you need someone to be like, yeah, okay, let's fix this, right? So by kind of like giving that tool out there for more people gives you the opportunity to like communicate about, here's what you can do to help your people, partners, relationships, or just friends, of like, how can I communicate best in this situation for you and your needs?
I like that.
Thank
Triforce, also amazing.
Right.
Good
Perfect.
analogy.
Always.
So good.
I think that's excellent. What about you, Mercedes? Do you have any life experience with that you'd like to share?
I mean, like, it really depends on how close to crunch mode we're in, and like how catastrophic it is as well, because it's like, especially if it's someone else's thing that has, you know, broken or has hit that crisis moment. You know, I can't make a decision for you, but I'm there to support you and offer advice if that is what you need in that moment, or like if you need me to run and go get backup fabric or, you know, something like that, I will jump into that mode for them.
Yeah.
Because like I've been there where something very last second just totally messes up, and it's a terrible feeling. And having someone jump in to help, my husband, when I sat on my sword and it split in two, you know?
Such a story to remember.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Or day before the contest too, and just being like, I don't know what to do. The sword is now 2 pieces instead of 1 because I forgot that it was on the chair that I sat on. And just like that panic that like I shut down, and Chris jumped into, okay, I can solve this. I've got pins, I've got a lathe, and like immediately just started throwing things together, and it took a few hours, but he fixed it for me. Put it back together, and like even showed me few cool things on his metal lathe for it, because that was made out of plastic, so you can do that on metal lathes. But I was just like, I understand that feeling, and I want to be able to jump in and help someone where it best helps them. I don't have to fix it for them, but I want to be a support. Yeah.
I'll say I've definitely had, like, not even in a crunch time, but if I'm like working on something and I get unsolicited advice, sometimes that will just like shut me down entirely, even if there wasn't like a problem. If I get well, why are you doing it this way? I'm just like, I question my whole life now. Okay.
I didn't need feedback in this moment, Brian.
Right? You're just like,
It's the logical thing. You're absolutely right, Brian. But at the same time, I didn't want that feedback.
Right. And like sometimes those have been great like learning experiences when I cool down enough to like listen to the advice. I'm like, oh, okay. Like that actually was a good point, and I wasn't able to see it because I had my head like in the game. So yeah, that can be hard. I think part of that for me is with the like ADHD stuff, not to like make it a blame game. I'm just trying to like explain my function and how I work best. Like for me with the ADHD thing, like if I'm on a train of thought and I'm like, this is how it's going to be done, or if I'm making a plan and something derails that plan, it just like throws me for a loop. So like that can be like someone calling last minute to be like, hey, do you want to see a movie? And like I might want to see the movie, but it's changing my plans at the last minute. So I'm like, but
it's the trail of ants and like a leaf falls in their path. Yeah.
So it's not necessarily like an angry response. It's just like this confusion of like, but there was a plan.
But I had a plan.
Once I can like back up enough to see around the giant leaf that's gotten in the way, I'm like, okay, I can see how that would be fun, or I can see how this would be a better way to approach it. But yeah, not to like totally derail our conversation there, but my brain caught that and just wouldn't let it go.
Yeah, you had the path, and like I think that's a good example of why like crafting parties can be sometimes really bad for some people. Like if you are so used to working in a specific way and someone's like, hey, can I just like come over and share space? That can like really throw you for a loop. Like if somebody were to say, hey, can I just sit in the same room as you edit audio? My brain could not do that, right? Because then like I'm going to be taking my headphones on and off all the time. Like, oh, what did you need? Oh, everything okay? Yeah. What'd you say? Because I'm not hearing you, and my brain is trying to focus on the words as I'm editing. So, like, that totally makes sense that if you run into a situation where you're like, people want to be over here, I have to be on when people are here. So it may not even be for you if you're sitting there and, like, having a hard time diverging from that path on your bad days or whatever, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say even... that really affects like what projects I will even pick to do for a party. If I know something is going to be really like brain intensive, I probably won't do it in a group. But if I know that I'm going to do something that's fairly like low rent in my head, like just doing like some hand stitching or like finishing or maybe like cutting out a pattern that I've already mocked up, that stuff, I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this and not like pay 100% attention, and I can be social while I do it. So
nice. Yeah.
Lots of things to take into consideration.
Oh yes,
embroidering groups.
Yeah,
embroidering groups are great.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Okay, I've got one more question.
yeah.
What is your
Gotcha.
preferred snack
Oh.
for a crafting party?
Peanut-
Because I feel like
peanut
if you're
butter
gonna have
M&Ms.
people over, what's that? What'd you
That's
say?
peanut butter M&Ms. Peanut butter M&Ms.
Do you remember how you were talking about when you were on a trail? And then there's a lake.
Sorry.
Mercedes, I love you.
You've been derailed.
You just put like a whole shoe in my way. Okay, so you go for peanut M&Ms. Why peanut M&Ms, Mercedes?
Peanut butter M&Ms.
Oh, excuse me, peanut butter M&Ms. The lesser of the two. Got it. Go on.
No. It's better. It's great. David, you're always judging me.
A little bit, yeah.
I
It's 'cause
will
love
side
you.
with Team Mercedes on this one. Peanut
Whoa,
butter
really?
is the superior M&M.
Oh man,
Yes.
I okay. I've been voted out for the island. I get it.
Oh.
I don't know. I like them. They're not messy, and they don't like get on stuff unless like you're, for some reason forgot they were in your hand, and then they melt, and then you're like, oh, I've got pink hands now. I don't know. They're just an easy snack.
They are very easy snacks. What about you, Pannon?
A big old messy plate of chicken wings. No. I kid. I would cry. You don't want chicken wing like sauce all over your patterns and your nice embroidery.
Your embroidery.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta like
So
lick your
much.
fingers in between stitches.
Someone like the judge is like looking at your embroidery and they're like, smells like chicken.
Mmm.
Yeah, that's weathering.
Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Weathering. Anyway, I honestly don't give it a lot of thought, which is probably not great. I think because I get too focused on the things if I'm doing the thing that I don't think of being like, oh, hey, let me feed everybody, which is probably not great. But I think we usually we'll go out somewhere and get food just to take a brain break. Which can be really hard to get everybody to tear themselves away from their project at the same time. But I would say it kind of works the same way as when you're in a group at a convention, you have the mom friend who's like, we've been working for the last 7 hours and no one has eaten. We're going to McDonald's or we're going to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Get the messiness out of the way somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. So you're taking care of the task, but it's not going to interfere with the setup you have at home.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, I don't know, I have a hard time snacking when I'm working on things at all. It's part of that whole hyperfixate and don't sleep or eat or shower for days. And if I don't step away to eat, I probably won't eat,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you feel like you're making maximum progress,
Right.
Oh my gosh, if I keep it up at this rate, I might be done by tomorrow or something along those lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is not healthy, and I'm definitely not advocating for anything like that. But I would say that's one of the pros to having friends, because you keep yourselves accountable and make sure that you're taking care of yourselves a little bit better than you might if it was just yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Because I know if it's just me, I'm like, whatever. But if my friends are here, I'm worrying, have you eaten today? Have you had enough water? How are you feeling? Do you need to take your ibuprofen? So, yeah, it's like that.
Love it. I
was going to do a crafting party the other day, and one of my friends was having a really bad fibro pain day, and we ended up just getting the Pokemon Happy Meals at McDonald's and taking care of each other and kind of talking and catching up instead of working on stuff. So I'm glad we are several months out from the convention, but it can also just be good to take care of each other,
Yeah, you gotta be allowed, it's gotta have that flexibility. Because it's not always going to be, because I think I did a crafting party once with my friend Ginny, and I think we just ended up listening to a bunch of albums and going through oh man, I really like We were just going through a bunch of like our emo phase albums. It's not a phase, Mom. And we just like, oh yeah, what about this one? Oh yeah, but what about this band? Oh, I forgot about that one. That was so good. Oh, I went and saw them live. You did? That's so cool.
Nice. Nice.
I think like one of the most important things to come out of a crafting party is spending time with your friends.
Totally.
Whether you craft
we
or
made
not.
along the way. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think that was good. That was fun. We got a lot of good input, a lot of good suggestions that I'm going to try to do better on in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of like all kinds of things that can go wrong, do we have any fun horror stories for this week?
Horror stories. Spooky, spooky, spooky. Yes, we do. We've got one in the email, actually. Yeah. Also, reaction to David auto-tuning my voice.
I've been doing it for weeks, Mercedes. Weeks!
You see, I stopped listening to the episodes and, posting them because I'm like, I trust David and, he'll make things sound good. I don't need to worry about it anymore.
A foolish mistake, truly.
Such a foolish mistake.
A graver error has never been made.
David is like, I have been given such power.
Such power. No, I love it. It's great, actually. And it definitely was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, so cosplay horror story. We have my cosplay name is Zen Zero Cosplay. This cosplay horror story just happened today. When they sent this email. So I'm typing it fresh in my memory. This happened at our local fabric store. It was my first time having my non-cosplaying husband with me on a mission. Sweet. 1. Find cloth of an upcoming costume I'm making. He watched the series with me and is excited that I'm making the costume of a character in it. 2. Buy a cloth for a Chinese cheongsam. So we found the cloth and went to the cutter counter. The lady in the cutting area was so kind and helped me color match. It was 100% service. We got the cloth cut and then stood in line to pay. I had 1% battery on my phone, just enough to show the coupon I was planning to use. The cloth was $44, so it was a little steep for my budget, so I was holding onto that coupon and hoping for it to go through. Felt like Mission Impossible. With my coupon on hand...
I'm just imagining Kronk from like that person who walking through the line with my fabric.
With the phone at 1% with your coupon on it. With my coupon on hand, the cashier scanned it and gave us an error. I was holding my breath as we tried another one, but nothing came through. My husband was so embarrassed. He offered to buy it for me, but our finances would say otherwise. So I made a brave face and canceled everything and walked away.
No!
I profoundly... That's so heartbreaking. I profoundly said sorry to the cashier, but I know I made the right choice. I would rather eat than be hungry while making my costume. This might be a horror story even before making the cosplay, but it's also a reminder about priorities. Don't sacrifice basic necessities for cosplay. My ego is hurt, and I probably would never gonna see my husband in a fabric store again. But at least he tried.
Aww. Oh. Reminds me of some of those TikToks where I see people like crying because they spent all their money on Pokemon cards, so they're cooking Pokemon cards in the skillet. Like, but dang, kudos for making the tough decision.
Yeah, that's the adult thing. I would have just gone into debt. Like,
I love that reminder of make sure you eat, take care of yourselves.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your horror stories. If any of y'all at home have some to share, there are a bunch of ways you can do that. The first is our email, which is cosplaystitchandseam@gmail.com, or
you can fill out our forms on the website to contact us at cosplaystitchandseam.com, and I remembered to say it this time, or...
Woo!
go to the Facebook page. While you're on the Facebook page, tell us what you're working on. We have a fantastic community that wants to know what you're working on, that wants to help you out, that will body double with you over the internet in nice comments on the internet. If you don't want to do that on Facebook, we totally get that. We do have a Discord. You can get the link on our website. And we do have several voice channels. If you wanted to body double, I have done like a few like, hey, just going to body double, just going to be online, just going to be writing.
We should have mentioned that. That's such a good idea.
You have the opportunity, and it is on our Discord. You can go over there. If you want like a moderator, let me know. I'm more than happy to like make sure everyone keeps the peace. But we've got such a great community of people on there that just legitimately want to see you grow. So go over there, and while you're on the internet body doubling, if you want to help out the show, tell a friend, leave a review wherever they will let you. If you have left a review and you haven't gotten a shout out, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to make sure that you do get said shout out. And we have a Ko-fi, KOFI, Cosplay Stitch, and we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Cosplay Stitch. Some of the amazing people that we need to thank. A correction. It is pronounced Tim Yoke. I am so sorry, Tim. Thank you for letting me know. Foxchild, Troffcause, Lydia, Rose Does, Yggdrasil, Dr. Steggy, PB and James, Cynics, Hot Riku, Renamira, Jazzy Kofed, Jaguar Quinn, Gloria Shu, Sudi, Shock H, and Silver Days.
Amazing. Thank you all so much. I really need to get caught up on the Discord.
People should add words because I want to know how long David can go without breathing.
That's all it's for. We've gone from keeping the lights on to asphyxiation. Anywho, you can also check out some amazing cosplay makeup at foxbeauty.store. Use their promo code Stitch and Seam to get 10% off your purchase of all vegan, not tested on animal products. Thanks as always to Macy Roberts for the use of her music as our theme song, and David Jeffress for his amazing editing. How are your podcasts going, David?
They are going so great. Comic Trades Monthly, where we talk about your favorite comic book collection in a book club format. Me and my friend Dane kind of break down the tropes, the themes, and how better would the X-Men be if they actually had therapy? Yeah. That's a common trope that we talk about. And if you want an audio drama, something that is scripted, something that kind of like is biting at modern era, well, that's probably not The Last Voice. But it is The Last Voice if you want something that's still scripted and audio drama and talks about zombies and whatnot. Season 2 is out now. We're like halfway there. Some big stuff is coming up. I'm really excited. I hope you all enjoy it. And if you want to talk about it with me, we have a channel on the Discord just for The Last Voice.
Woo! Yes! Amazing. I'm so excited. So... I'm sorry, I can't lead into this. It's so stupid.
I love it. I can't wait.
Sorry, David, edit me out. And David's going to say no.
No, probably not.
So I've been thinking of getting that tattoo. You know how we were talking about that a while back. But I thought it would be fun to do just like line art.
Okay.
So people can like color them in if they're feeling down.
Yeah.
Because, it'll give them a shoulder to crayon.
Oh.
Bye, guys. You all right?